Bob and I decided to start a business, in fact, the dean of Wake Forest University asked me, why the furniture industry? Why not go into a high-tech industry? Why not go into something newer and more happening in the world that day? And I said, you know, we looked at the furniture industry and said, this is easy pickings, because these folks are so backwards in the way they run their whole business that we really felt we had a big opportunity, and thankfully we did. Hello, I'm Mitchell Gold, chairman and co-founder of Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams Company. I was a furniture buyer at Bloomingdale's in the mid-1970s. I don't want to date myself, but I was there in the mid-70s. And one of the things that really struck me about furniture manufacturers is they weren't really concerned about the consumer or the retailer. And we studied the way people shopped. And one of the things that we noticed is people take X amount of time to decide what they want to buy, which sofa they want to have in their house. But once they decide, they want it right away. So we reorganized a lot of things in our factory, reorganized the way we thought of inventory control, the way we thought of inventory turns, and did it so that we could ship faster than anybody else.
You know what, my perspective of the furniture company in 1989 is probably a little different than most people, because my background came from graphic design. I worked for a magazine and an advertising agency. So I came into this industry with not too many preconceived ideas of what it should be. Hi, I'm Bob Williams. I'm president of design of Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams. We really looked at various designs. You know, we were a young company. We couldn't do what other companies were doing with 18th century traditional designs, because you know what? They're the best at it. So trying to compete with them at their level was impossible. It really made us kind of look to see what are some of the other niches out there and take advantages of those things.
The apparel ads were getting sexier and sexier. There were half-naked people running all over the place. And we felt that in our ads, if we could add an element of provocativeness, that we could really get people's attention. And we did that with the idea that a customer could look at Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams and say, I want them to help me furnish my home. And you know, the other part of that is we wanted to develop a brand with depth. We wanted to, when somebody came into our stores or were buying our product in a retailer that we sell to understand who we are, that we're committed to the environment from day one when we started the company, that we're committed to taking care of our employees, we're committed to being a robust and important part of the community and making it a healthier community. So it's a very different way of building a brand than the traditional model of building a brand is.
You know, it's funny, when Mitchell and I first started the company 20 years ago, we read a couple of books and saw a couple of videos about Smith & Hawkins and Ben & Jerry and some of the great things that those companies had done for their companies. And I remember thinking it'd be great someday to be able to offer some of the benefits and do some of the different things that these other companies do.
One of the very first things that we did was air condition the factory. And it was interesting because in the community, all of a sudden people started applying to work for us. And my plant manager came to me and said, you know, so-and-so applied. He's the best upholsterer from such and such a place, or this woman applied and she's the best this from such and such a place. And I said, what's going on? And he said, well, you know what? The word is out. Our place is air conditioned, you put in good lighting, and we have good coffee. We also have what we call a health fair every spring, where we basically offer all of our employees a free physical on site at the factory. We bring in a team of specialists. We have a mammogram mobile, we do a glaucoma check, and it enables our people to have the whole model of a healthy environment. A lot of kids in our rural town don't really think about going to college, but starting a scholarship program was the impetus for a lot of kids we now know to think about going to school and to help them financially be able to do it. The thing we do require is that it be a 4-year accredited school and that the school has a non-discrimination policy which includes everything, including sexual orientation.
I had a friend of mine from New York call me up about somebody who was working in the furniture industry in North Carolina and suffered major discrimination. And the guy lived, you know, like an hour away, but wanted to move into the county to try to get a job at the factory where he could just be himself and really not go through what he went through at the previous company. Hi, I'm Ed Custer, the Hospitality Account Director for Mitchell Gold Bob Williams. So I was like, that's great. That's really terrific that, you know, it's kind of a place where people in the rural area know that they can come into a company and be accepted for who they are, regardless of what their background or sexual orientation would be.
And by saying that in your policy handbook, and if you could just think for a minute about being in a small rural town where we are, a 18-year-old kid graduates high school, he's gay, he's scared to death to tell anybody in his family, he comes to work for us, he sees the handbook and sees that he's welcome in our company. That means a lot to a kid, and how we set an example in our community and include sexual orientation and all the benefits in all of our hiring practices, that says something to the community, gay and straight. And I think setting examples is much more important than telling people what to do.
Seeing Mitchell and Bob interact with the people they work with, and speak to them on a first name basis and engage people in conversation. It's just not like the big guys are walking through right now going from point A to point B. They're friendly and personable with everybody they come in contact with. And it's really nice to see that, coming out of advertising where sometimes senior people run through the office and, all the little guys are kind of just in their cubicles, working away and nobody recognizes anybody. It's not like that here. People really, I feel like they're very engaging in everybody's lives.
And I'll tell you, for me, one of the great disciplines is getting people to talk and not me lecturing. I work really hard to get each person to know that they are a brand unto themselves, and it's important that people like and respect them. But it's also important to know that in the totality of a company, that they're not going to get ahead by leapfrogging over others and not supporting them. Each person's success makes the other person successful. And I think when you kind of convey that in the company, it gives a much different spirit.
This isn't brain surgery, it's furniture. And I think it's important to keep the work environment fun and enjoyable. I mean, the days can be long, it can be a little stressful, especially when we get ready for market. It's more about people and a workplace. So if we can keep it fun and enjoyable where people are having fun, I think we end up getting the best work from the people.